We need more idiotic performances like this from Kelsey, the ball hog Mitchell. The girl refuses to pass the ball to save her life. She acts like if she passes the ball, one of her feet are going to fall off and never reattach. We need more idiotic performances like this. We need more fourth quarter meltdowns and Aaliyah Boston missed about 5 layups in the fourth quarter. Celebrate!
An absolute 12-point lead. 3 quarters of pure basketball dominance, destroyed in a matter of minutes. The New York Liberty were completely vulnerable. Their superstar Sabrina Ionescu was sidelined with a back injury. Indiana had every single reason to make a massive statement on national television. They had a stadium full of fans, the momentum, and absolutely no excuse to collapse. And then, the fourth quarter started, and everything fell apart. In a brutal, horrific 8 minutes and 43 seconds, the New York Liberty went on a devastating 19-4 run. They didn't just win, they snatched a 12-point Indiana advantage and turned it into an embarrassing collapse that the Fever could never recover from. Walk off the floor, 83-75. Lost. Humiliated. Handed over. Drop your most honest reaction in the comments right now, because what happened in that final quarter exposed a dark, disturbing reality about the Indiana Fever that 3 quarters of good basketball could never hide. Did the Liberty actually beat Indiana, or did Indiana intentionally beat itself? Let us start with the brutal facts that the mainstream sports media is too terrified to lead with. Caitlin Clark was completely scoreless in the fourth quarter. 0 points, 5 personal fouls, 4 of 14 from the field for the entire game. This is already the 4th time this season she has missed 10 or more shots in a single game. Numbers that should deeply concern everyone watching this team try to build toward a championship. But here is the part that the box score is actively hiding from you. Clark was never the problem. She was never the problem. Before the fourth quarter meltdown, Clark was flirting with a historic triple-double. She had 7 assists. She had 5 rebounds. She was running the offense, creating lethal looks, and generating the exact spacing that made Indiana dangerous for 3 straight quarters. When Clark was orchestrating, Indiana was winning. But when the pressure hit in crunch time, Caitlin Clark was literally turned into a decoy. Stephanie White completely isolated her in the corner, freezing out the league's most dangerous playmaker. Why? Because Kelsey Mitchell went into absolute ball hog mode, jacking up 21 brainless shots, while Raven Johnson actively looked Caitlin Clark off on the court. This wasn't just an organizational failure, it was a clown show where the coaches turned the league's best generational talent into a spot-up distraction.
The fact of the matter is, the Indiana Fever organization and Stephanie White have turned this into the Kelsey Mitchell show. In the fourth quarter, this girl proceeded to shoot the ball every goddamn time she touched it. Pardon for the language. I can't sit and watch her no more. I don't want to watch Kelsey Mitchell another day in my life, respectfully. She's a hot dog. The girl don't pass the ball. Aaliyah Boston, absolute meltdown in the fourth quarter.
Think about the sheer insanity of this strategy. You have a player who redefined college basketball, a player with infinite range, and you reduce her to a passive bystander while role players hijack the entire offensive possession. It is a complete insult to her basketball IQ, and fans are rightfully losing their minds over it. Breanna Stewart walked into the arena and absolutely cooked Indiana for 30 points. But look closer at the tape. 18 of those points came straight from the free throw line. 18 free throws for one single player in one single game against Indiana Fever's supposed defensive system. Stewart sank 18 of 21 attempts at the charity stripe, setting a new career high while Indiana's defensive rotations collapsed around her like a house of cards. When an opposing player gets to the line 21 times, it is not bad luck. It is a defensive scheme that has been completely solved, exposed, and humiliated by the opposing coaching staff. And remember, the Liberty did all of this without Sabrina Ionescu. Let that sit with you for exactly 1 second. New York came into Barclays Center missing their starting star point guard, their second best player, and they still rallied from 12 points down because their coaching staff made adjustments and Indiana's coaching staff did not. The pattern is documented. The collapse is not random. It is systemic. And the systemic problem has a name that sits right on the sideline in a coaching blazer, making catastrophic decisions when outcomes are decided. Clark finished 4 of 14 because she was completely starved of the basketball when it mattered most. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston combined for 8 costly turnovers and a horrific 36% field goal percentage. The Stars were missing wide-open layups, the bench was a ghost town, and the coaching adjustments were non-existent.
And the worst part, beyond Aaliyah Boston vomiting all over herself, why the hell is Raven Johnson looking off Caitlin Clark? Why the hell is Raven Johnson, when Kelsey Mitchell goes to the bench, did y'all realize that Stephanie White was running the offense through Raven Johnson while Caitlin Clark was on the court? This is a joke.
Indiana Fever are now 5-5, sitting 7th in the standings. 10 games into a season that was supposed to announce this franchise as a legitimate championship contender. Instead, they are a broken team that wins 3 quarters and chokes the 4th. A team with enough elite talent to lead, but not enough system to close. This franchise is playing with fire, and if they don't fix this culture immediately, they risk breaking the spirit of a player who is supposed to be the future of the WNBA. You cannot expect greatness when the blueprint itself is fundamentally flawed. That is not variance. That is the same organizational disaster showing up on a national stage in the most undeniable way possible. Clark is doing her job. She is creating, she is passing, she is building leads, and since the broken system around her keeps finding sick, twisted ways to give back what she builds in the moments that cannot be recovered from. How long can a generational talent survive in a culture that rewards selfishness over spacing? We are watching a systematic lockdown where the franchise player is forced to watch her own teammates drive the ship directly into an iceberg. The front office brought in a championship coach, but all we are seeing is the same repetitive, fourth-quarter panic attack. This isn't just a tough loss to digest anymore, it is an ongoing betrayal of Caitlin Clark's prime, and the clock is ticking for this entire organization.
Kelsey Mitchell, this is you right now. Stephanie White, this is you right now. Aaliyah Boston, this is you right now. Raven Johnson, this is you right now. You guys look like absolute clowns out there. Y'all look like bozos out there. You mean to tell me, Stephanie White, through an entire fourth quarter, Caitlin Clark doesn't get a shot until it's 1 minute left in the fourth quarter? That was her first shot of the entire fourth quarter came with 1 minute left? And y'all trying to tell me it's not sabotage?
The time for excuses is over, and the time for radical accountability has arrived before this season completely slips away. Drop your most explosive take in the comments right now. Is Stephanie White's inability to make fourth quarter adjustments the single biggest obstacle standing between Caitlin Clark and greatness? How many more 12-point leads have to vanish before the ownership group demands answers from the sideline? Subscribe immediately, hit that notification bell, and like this video if you believe Caitlin Clark deserves a coaching staff that can actually protect a lead she builds.